Morning, oh Forte, and a beautiful morning to everyone watching today. You're tuned into Sunrise on Aniki TV, where every sunrise begins with delightfulness, joy, and that cheer. And bringing you sunrise this morning, I am Deborah Wakoba, coming to you live from our studio here in vibrant Enugu.
And good morning to you, our global audience, wherever you are, at home, in your office, or in traffic, or even making breakfast. Thank you for letting us into your space this beautiful morning. As always, we're here to refresh, inform, and motivate.
Yes, it's Wednesday, 3rd December 2025, and of course, we've got you that full package this morning. And please do stay with us. We'll be right back after the quick break.
The Insight with Uche Osai.
Having the political will to confront whatever is the challenges.
Igbo man wrestles with
the tortoise that had a lot of ingenuity, a lot of ideas, and the tireless.
It will take the bold mind of government in power to say, let there be electoral reform, no matter who sorts is God.
I was there. We did everything. All of us came and supported him with our last block.
In-depth analysis, expert views, real voices, uncover the stories shaping Nigeria today. Deep dive, honest, unfiltered, only on the Insight with Uche Osai on Aneke TV. Join us. You're still watching Sunrise on Aneke TV, and joining us today on this special edition of the Sunrise is the current executive chairman of Ukwueze South Local Government Area in Enugu State. We're talking about a legal luminary, a man who left royalty to serve the people, a man known for his philanthropic engagements, most especially in the area of education, a man who has affected and impacted a lot of people in his community and beyond, a man who is talked about in Enugu State at the moment, whose forecast about the happenings in Enugu State as at 12th October, the last time he was on this program, has all happened. And we are talking about no other person but Barrister Ferdinand Ukwueze.
You're welcome, sir.
It's good to have you on Sunrise one more time.
Thank you very much.
And I say you're looking good. You tell me the stress is too much. You're welcome.
Thank you. The joy of the Lord is our strength.
Amen. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Wonderful, wonderful. Enugu State, here we are. And here you are. I have a certain script, but when I see you, I hardly follow scripts, But let me start with what we discussed on the 12th October. We talked about Enugu State.
Yes.
How come you were quite apt about the developmental trajectory of this government, being that you spoke about things that have not happened, and yet they are happening as if you had a magic wand for which you dictated the pace of the goings on in Enugu State?
Well, thank you very much. By the way, good morning, Nigerians, viewers all over the world. If you followed this administration very well, you will realize that it is not difficult to tell or forecast what becomes or what will become the outcome of every policy enacted by the government. Here is a government that has said we are delivering on good governance in such a manner that our processes, our successes will be measurable per time. So you don't need to look far away for you to tell that if this government has been consistent in following their policies, people-oriented policies, you can tell where it will lead everyone to. So for me, it is not miraculous, neither is it supernatural that someone looks into the documents issued by the government as their guiding policy for delivering good governance to the people of Enugu State, that in so and so period of time, this is where you will find us as a people, as a government. It's a government that is working based on its own fiscal policies. Nothing is accidental. Nothing is unplanned. Everything about government and governance in Enugu State is intentional, well reasoned. Okay, so it's not difficult to predict where we'll find ourselves in time.
All right, very apt. But let me, come back to the issue of budget because that's the latest on ground.
I see.
You were on ground yesterday at the State Assembly to lend your support to the state and to the governor. And here we have budget of renewed momentum. What's a word? Budget of a renewed momentum. There's no stopping. We are propelling forward. Now we have a budget proposal of 1.62 trillion as against that of 2025 where we had 971 billion. What a mileage. What is your perception? Let me just talk about numbers now. What's your perception about these numbers? Some are saying that this is more imaginary than reality.
Well, all over the world, in every society, there are three classes of persons. Those who make things happen, those who watch things happen, and then naysayers. But I think we've come a long way in the government of His Excellency Dr. Peter Milisimba, that when he tells you he will do a thing, he is not saying it for the fun of it, out of politics or to gain applaud from you ahead of time. He's saying it because he knows it's practicable and deliverable, although he does the extra things to get extra results for the people of Enugu State. We have moved from the budget of exponential growth 2025 budget, where the forecast, you just mentioned the figure now, about 365 days ago, at the same floor of the Enugu State House of Assembly, where he presented our 2025 budget, not many persons believed that it is attainable. The reason is this: it's unprecedented, actually, not just in Enugu State, but in Southeast. No state had been bold enough to come up to present to the world through their State House of Assembly a budget of such magnitude of figures. 365 days down the line, or thereabout, we have performed that budget up to 97%. So tangible that the blind can feel it. Naysayers now agree with it. When he came up and told us as Enugu A is coming on board, there was nothing like Enugu A before then. People left the hall, the floor of the house, asking questions. Enugu A, even when Nigeria A is not existing, how can you bring Enugu? Are you an oil producing state? But my brother, the world can now see that within the first 6 months of the passage of that budget, Enugu A arrived the scene, and we all witnessed the launching and the commissioning of Enugu A. We talked about bus terminal. In that budget, it sounded like a fairy tale, something that can only be possible in the Western world, or something that belongs to our beautiful history, the colonial days. Within the space of 6 months from then, over 100 CNG buses arrived the ground of Enugu State. Over 5 bus terminals now existing in Enugu State today, even yours faithful, travels with those buses. So, you see, I won't be surprised that there are doubters out there, but they should know that their right to doubt does not stop the capacity of this administration to deliver on the budget as proposed, because it has happened before. Nothing stops it from happening again. This year, budget of renewed momentum. That tells you that exponential growth has been achieved foundationally, right? Foundationally. Now that we've achieved it foundationally, it is time to double the effort and fire from all cylinders. And these things are achievable. They are growing by our roadsides on daily basis. I mean, don't you move around the streets of Enugu metropolis? Don't you travel out of Enugu to see dual carriageways growing as projected in that budget? Don't you move around to see that even in the face of global security challenges, Enugu State can still be classified as a haven for tourists, a haven for residents, and a haven for visitors, passers-by, not minding the challenges here and there. You can see improved security outfits everywhere. So Enugu takes the lead, others follow. Of course, it's not about competition. It's about looking inwards to know what you want to do for your people. And that is His Excellency Governor Peter Simba, who says, my policies and everything I do for our people they are going to be transparent, they are going to be traceable, they are going to be measurable. So we'll work with measurements, we'll work with records. These things are traceable, they are transparent. Nobody does them anymore today. So, renewed momentum is the slogan for the year, and we're doubling down. His Excellency is ready for the work.
All right. Barrister, when you speak, one can feel these words, not just hear them. But let's go into this very budget proper. We're looking at 1.29 trillion. And going into this very budget, we're seeing how the budget was allotted. We have about 51% of this budget, talking about 825 billion, first on the economic sector, focusing on infrastructure, agriculture, and industry. Then on the social sector, we'll have 644 billion. That's about 40% of this very budget, prioritizing education, taking about 32% of the total budget, healthcare 10%, welfare administration 128 billion, and without going further, we've seen that yesterday the governor was talking about the infrastructural projects. We saw 1,200 urban roads, we saw farm estates, and then we saw the Enugu airplane that you mentioned about, and then 15,000 housing units, to mention but a few. But my question to you this morning, let me start with the issue of where the majority of this budget will be financed from. Talking about IGR. And kudos, congratulations, because you did mention that awards will follow the governor the last time you were here, and we saw that he was top on internally generated revenue. But again, Barrister, this budget, 1.29 trillion, will be financed majorly from internally generated revenue. And a lot of people are talking about Enugu State being overtaxed, being overburdened with tax. And whenever I speak to you, I talk about the people from Omologo community.
Thank you.
And of course, how are they this morning?
My people are very fine.
Yes. So we're asking, how do you think this budget, in terms of IGR transaction, will impact a farmer in Omologo, for example?
Very positively, and I will tell you why. That a greater percentage of our budget will rely on IGR simply tells you that we are pursuing an egalitarian society in Enugu State that will be self-reliant, a society, a state that will not be parasitic. A state whose economy will not be crippled by virtue of what happens across in the neighboring states or globally. A state that can qualify to be an economically independent state, existing for itself, solving its problems, championing its causes, advancing programs and projects for her people. A state that cares and caters for her people without necessarily being influenced by what happens outside the state. That is what Enugu State has become under the administration of His Excellency Governor Peter Simba. A state where the state is responsible and responsive to the people, and a state where correspondingly the people are civil, responsible, and also responsive to the state, where citizenship is practicalized, demonstrated, lived out as a lifestyle. I mean a state where someone grows up to know that this environment intentionally took care of me, therefore I have to be responsible. A state where farm estates will be found in every community, including Umulolo ward, as long as the land is available, the state government is ready to drive in agroeconomy for the benefit of the people. You know why I'm picking it like this? Is for you to understand that this thing is ultimately beneficial to the people. His Excellency came into the office and said, we are not making any tax law to bring in what is not taxable in Enugu State into our taxation policy. No, what we are pursuing is to make sure that we block every leakages that have been going on. Either leakages arising from the people who ought to, organizations or businesses who ought to pay their legitimate righteous tax, who have been evading it for them to comply.
Sorry. To pay legitimate, righteous tax.
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh, excuse me, for the sake of our viewers, what do you mean by legitimate, righteous tax?
Legitimate righteous tax means fulfilling your obligation based on the constitution of the land. All right? And in fulfilling that, you don't partner with any criminal, with due respect, who pretends to be working for the state, an agent of the state, to divert the funds, misappropriate it, or defraud the state. That has been the experience in the past. Though some persons will compromise the process and money meant for the states is found in private pockets. So at the end of the day, the state government suffers, then the people also suffer. Because this developmental project that ordinarily have to come in return will no longer manifest for the people to benefit from, because the fund never got to the state in the first place. So what that means is that with the policy of His Excellency bringing in a more organized system of tax implementation in Enugu State means that if Mr. A from Umololo pays his business tax, it gets to government's account without navigating fraudulent processes where it could be torpedoed before it arrives its destination. So in real time, government has access to that fund and then returns it to the people by way of development. Okay? So what belongs to the state comes to the state, and state now in good time does what it's supposed to do for her people. That's what it means. It does not mean that the people will be choked to death. No. It means that what used to leak from the process no longer leak. It gets directly to where you ought to go. And government now makes budgets, plans, and executes based on what they can see on ground.
Okay.
That is the implication of it.
Right. Now we're still talking about implementation. Let's go to infrastructure and the area that the bulk of this 1 point something trillion is being focused on. And we are looking at, for example, the transport system. Your government, you just brought the bus rapid terminal into Enugu State. You brought new buses, and then you're talking about deploying 2,000 sedan taxis into the state. Will I not be right to argue that this is overflogging the issue? Because I do not think that with the buzz we are seeing in Enugu, we need to invest into taxis in Enugu State, which I'm particular about our suburbs. not the city. For example, my village in the Halmona, would they be able to take advantage of these buses, for example? Then, if we go forward into the budget as well, we are talking about paving urban roads, about 1,200 urban roads. Beyond that, you've mentioned the Enugu Air. I'm on infrastructure and transport. Then we're talking about 1,200 urban roads as well. Then we are looking at adding additional 14 aircrafts to the ones that you have on ground. And I ask again, Barrister, is this not just elitist? Rather than for the people that need it most in the hinterland, like my village, like in Umunon, like in Kano, like in the inner city of Amugo, in Udi.
My brother, you see, it is because of the people of your village and my village, their interest, that the state government is advancing further from CNG buses that limits at the terminal to sedan vehicles you're talking about, so that if you want to go to your village, there is no bus terminal in your village, and there shouldn't be bus terminal in every communities and in every village.
Yeah.
But these other buses you're talking about, the sedan vehicles you're talking about, can get to the remotest of village per time. What that means is that any tourist coming to Enugu State, either a business tourist, a religious tourist, or an education tourist, can touch the ground of every community he so wishes to, in an organized way, and in such a manner that he is sure that the state is aware of his arrival, his destination, his security, his comfort. And he goes back home talking about good governance in Enugu State. How dare you say this thing is elitist? How can it be elitist in an environment where the state government makes her policies focusing on every electoral wards in clear balance, focusing on every village? Every policy made by the state government is village, community focused, fixated, based. What that means is that the entirety of Enugu State is now an elitist society, because government wakes up to think about the remotest of villages. You know, the thing is this: in Enugu State today, like His Excellency said, a good leader is not just a leader who takes the people to where they want to be. Is that leader who takes the people to where they ought to be. He is taking Enugu State to where Enugu State ought to be, not excluding any community, not excluding any village. By the time the budget of renewed momentum is fully executed and implemented, you will find out that the child of Enugu State, that woman of Enugu State, who used to be a subsistence farmer in your village at the Harmona, and who used to be a trader in my village at Umulolo, can connect the world at a flip of hand because the facilities are there. I'll give you an example. I've had occasions within these last 3 months in Enugu State where I will have something to do with international bodies in Abuja on behalf of my local government. I schedule a meeting with them and I attend the meeting in Abuja in the morning. I return back to my office and still continue with my work till I close for the day. What made it possible? It became possible because Enugu A now exists, and we now have flights in and out of Enugu almost at every 2 hours of the day. Was this thing possible before now? The answer is emphatically no. Today now is possible that my brothers who work for the state government live in my village and they move in the morning, go to bus terminal, come to work in Enugu, and then get back to the village in the evening. You just saw me working with one of my team members, Isaac now. He has gone to work. That would not have been possible if we did not have CNG buses certainly getting to destination at the projected time. By God's grace, Enugu State is now matching with the experience we have in Western world.
Okay.
When I went to United Kingdom, it was possible to travel from Coventry down to Birmingham based on measurable projection that this is the bus time and bus hour. This is what Enugu State is now bringing the people into, where you experience proven and defensible developments and movements. Enugu State is not thinking like other states with due respect. Enugu State is thinking globally. That is why you can now find in my own Mololo ward smart green schools.
Okay.
So that the child of my village will be so privileged beyond what I had growing up,
okay,
that he understands the world.
Mm.
All those primitive experiences we used to have before, this government is phasing them away. No longer disadvantaged because of your location or how far your place is from the center. No.
Mm.
This government is bringing the whole world to communities.
Mm.
That's precisely what it means. They sound incredible, but they are achievable to the mind of that visionary leader, His Excellency, Governor Ferdinand Bisimba, who has seen it all. My wife just came back from Doha in Qatar from an education conference. And she tells me, environment where everywhere is organized. I went to the airport to pick her with my vehicle and said, you know, I wouldn't like to enter this vehicle. I said, why? He said, the vehicle is dirty compared to what I enjoyed. I said, my official vehicle is dirty. He said, yes, in that environment, everything is organized.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is well planned for by the state for her people. But she's telling me the story of what I've also experienced in the United Kingdom. So, what makes you think that the people of Enugu State are subhuman beings, that they cannot have that first-class experience that the citizens and natives of other developed countries are naturally having access to today in Enugu State? This budget will place us in that heightened place of pride, that when you mention you're coming from Enugu State, what you now hear is that you're coming from a civilized state.
Yeah.
That is what it means. We take the lead. Others are following. When I visited you in October, I told you that His Excellency Governor Ferdinand Bisimba is putting into Enugu State within the space of 1 year what 3 other states put together cannot bring to their people.
Okay. I was going to ask you how people were able to achieve all this in a short period during the last time you were here and now. But before I go into that, I still want to digest and dissect these issues. You know, we were talking about the airline. Yeah. Yes, this argument that these airlines, people are talking about adding the fleet to get to 20. How do we recoup this money?
My brother, if you listen to His Excellency yesterday, he has already answered the question. The answer finds itself in his budget speech after the presentation. He said, our budget has gone this high because we are now beginning to reap from the investments we made with the previous budgets executed in Enugu State. And he gave a practical example. He said, today, our CNG buses, money accrued from it, gains, profits. Okay. These things are channeled properly. Now, we've started Enugu A. They've started yielding. Okay? They've started yielding. The other moribund industries that have been revived in Enugu State, Gradually, you know, he has spent the past 2 years investing, attracting investors into Enugu State. And you think these things, they don't have positive consequences for the people. So part of the reason why next year's budget has gone high, that we have measurable expectations from the previous investment. Mind you, this is a government that is prudent, very prudent, not extravagant. A government that knows that you reap where you have sown. Yes. So if by the time the fiscal policy of 2026 and beyond is fully implemented, you know, you will just find out that, you know, these things were arithmetically worked out. All right. So don't be afraid. The driver of the economy of Enugu State is a trained lawyer, is a successful businessman. He has been tested and proven in the realms of governance. And that's why I said that he remains the modern wonder in the affairs of governance.
Modern wonder in the affairs of governance. All right, on that note, let's listen to the governor.
Mr. Speaker, distinguished members, let me present the overall picture of our 2025 spending in clear terms. So far, we have spent 806 billion. This means we have utilized 97.5% of all the money that came into the state and achieved 83% of the total budget implementation against a revised budget of 971 billion. Mr. Speaker, moving forward into the 2026-2028 budget, next year we will acquire an additional 14 aircraft. Mr. Speaker, distinguished members, let me present the overall picture of our 2025 spending in clear terms. So far, we have spent 806 billion. This means we have utilized 97.5% of all the money that came into the state and achieved 83% of the total budget implementation against a revised budget of 971 billion. Mr. Speaker, moving forward into the 2026-2028 budget, next year we will acquire an additional 14 aircraft.
Excellency Barrister Peter Ndubisimba on the budget of Enugu State, the budget of the government that we are talking about.
Budget of renewed
momentum.
Okay.
Momentum that is not being felt any other place but in Enugu State. We are overtaking the likes of Lagos that are known for this homogeneous amount in budget, and it's happening in Enugu State. But I want to, before I go to other issues, you know, when I see you, I tend not to follow scripts. You know, I want to move away from this budget a bit before we continue. How are your government, how is government able to do it? Because recently, talking about security, for instance, we saw presentation of drones, such that we've not seen in this country. And Enugu State, the first to unveil such surveillance drones in the country. How are you doing it? And here you are still giving us a very big budget for the year, budget of renewed momentum. How are you doing this? Do you get other revenue beyond what other states share from?
Enugu State being part of the states in Nigeria, 36 states plus FCT, is part of PAC. What Enugu State gets is what is due to it. And of course, if you categorize it, or if you want the categories, you find out that Enugu not being fully categorized as an oil producing state is not even among the first 15 larger beneficiaries of the monthly allocation.
Okay.
The records are there for you to see. The magic there is not in what the state gets from the federal government. That does not mean that federal government does not give Enugu State what is due to her. But the magic there lies in the prudent management of the resources available for the people of Enugu State. You see, it is one thing to have access to funds and finance. Then there's another thing, because it's always scarce, it's hardly enough. But it's another thing to scale your preferences, prioritize your projects, and know that which profits the people more, that which addresses the people more. And then when we're talking about addressing the needs of the people, of course, as a dispensation, as a generation, you don't have to be egocentric. You don't have to be selfish. You don't have to be self-centered. You must think about yourself as a dispensation. You must think about the generation past as retirees. Then you must, more importantly, think about the generation next, projecting into the future. And that explains why you see larger parts of this 2025 and 2026 multi-year budget, the budget of exponential growth and the budget of renewed momentum, being addressing more capital projects, not recurrent. Capital projects, these are things that addresses the needs of not just the moment, but the needs of tomorrow. Thinking for the unborn child of Enugu State, how they will best effectively live in this global community and then compete very well, if not exceed the experience, positive experiences of their peers from across the other part of the globe. So the magic is in the prudence management of the available resources, targeting priorities, neglecting frivolities, accounting for every official minute you have in Enugu State. As I'm here now, Chairman Ukwueze local government area, I don't spend a minute of my time in what will not bring progress and profits for the people of Ukwueze South local government, and by extension for the people of Enugu State. If you're a manager of time, men, and materials, there is no doubt that you will produce results, exponential results that will exceed expectations of many. So there lies the magic. Thank you.
Thank you for ushering me to Ukwueze South.
You're welcome to my local government.
So let's get into it. How will the local government, be able to translate the 51% economic sector allocation of the budget into tangible projects like the farm estates in your word, talking about the 825 billion statewide focus? So how are you going to leverage on this to take advantage of the farm estates that's been mentioned in the budget?
It is going to exist and materialize in 16 farm estates.
16 farm estates.
16
That's
farm
for
estates
your
for Ukwueze South local government area.
Okay.
Out of 102 farm estates that would materialize in Enugu North Senatorial District, out of 260 farm estates that would exist in Enugu State as a state. This budget is going to also materialize in rural roads creation and asphalting. Mind you, that His Excellency, when he presented his manifesto to the world in that World Press Conference held at Go University, he said, my dream is to make sure that at least 10 kilometers of road per ward, mark his word, 10 kilometers of road per ward means per a village, every village, transcending the urban or the state capital. Of course, all of us are gradually urbanizing because of the projects flying into our various communities. All right. So this is how you will see this budget, the capital budget, materializing. They are going to also exist in not just the smart green schools, but we're also talking about technical colleges, which is part of the budget. So they are going to exist in additional bus terminals. They are going to exist in the procurement of security gadgets that will now protect larger communities than we had before. This budget will not float in the air of Enugu East, Enugu South, and Enugu North local governments. No, there will cascade to every community in Enugu State.
All right. Barrister, let's get to your territory. You're someone that's been reputed for empowering youths. You've in the past sponsored and refunded students for JAM, over 500 candidates. We'll talk about master degree scholarships. We'll talk about vocational training. And I want to ask, in this budget, 32% of it, which equates to about 518 billion naira out of this 1-point-something trillion budget. And I want to ask, how is your local government, especially my people now, they're no longer just your people, my people at Umololo, how are they going to benefit and take advantage of this in area of primary schools and teacher welfare amid just the 65% overall budget surge?
That budget also captures gratuities for the parents.
Yes.
Don't forget that part.
Yes.
And that's why I said the budget has addressed the needs of the past, the needs of the moment, and then the needs of the future.
Okay.
So when we say tomorrow is here, understand that it's all inclusive. All right? Okay. Now, this budget, by the way, the person who worked in with me is one of the, first class graduates from Ukwueze local government.
Okay.
I mean Bright, who was also benefiting from scholarship masters. All right? So, you see, what we are talking about is the budget of the state government. You've not asked me about the budget of Ukwueze, even though we are yet to pass it. But whenever Lion Building issues a policy, the beneficiaries are found in our communities, not just in Emene Junction, Abapa Junction, Edimbo, where you are. The beneficiaries are picked from Umulolo. Yeah. They are picked from Ehanda group. They are picked from Udi, everywhere. It's for the people, all right? So when we now say that government is putting up technical colleges across the zones, who are going to be the pupils and the students of these technical colleges? If it exists in Udi, it is about the people in Udi local government area and her environments. If it exists in Ukwueze local government area, it's about the people in the 16 electoral wards of Ukwueze local government area. I just told you that today now, in my own ward, Umulolo ward, Smart Green School is functional. Wow. And all of those facilities, which is part of the attributes of a smart educational environment, my people firsthand are experiencing it. A child of nobody can now walk into a world-class educational environment and free of payment from the parents who ordinarily cannot pay, have access to education that only millions of naira can access for by the people who are living in cities like Lagos. You know, you talked about Enugu State working very fast to now measure with Lagos State and the rest of them. That's actually the target and the dream. His Excellency said, I want Enugu State to belong to the first 3 best states in Nigeria in terms of economy, in terms of tourism, in terms of education, in terms of good governance. So that is where the dream is driving us to. All right?
Yeah.
So the people of Ukwueze South are part of the beneficiaries of this capital project.
Okay.
All right. Now let's look at in the area of we're still talking about infrastructural, and then now you've talked about education, which I know is very dear to you. But I'm asking, you're the deputy chairman at God in Enugu State. You are equally, you remember the last time you were here, you said, you made that famous statement that resonated in Enugu State after you left and went back to Ukwueze South, that wherever the governor goes, you go. And now I want to ask, how, as the chairman, I know you've not presented your budget, how are you going to leverage on this budget to get, not just pass your own, but draw most from this budget for the benefit of people of Ukwueze South local government? We're talking about farm estates, we are talking about the schools that you've talked about, we're looking at road networks, we're looking at sedan buses. Yes, there will be a new construction of a bus terminal around your area in Ugolo. Yes, one is coming up in Ubi. But I want to ask, Barrister, how are you going to make this very budget more impactful for people in your local government?
How I'm going to make it more impactful for people in my local government is recognizing the fact that we have been discussing about the state's government budget, okay? And by the special grace of God, next week, I'll also present my budget to the Legislative House. Now, we must seek for those excellent synergies between the local government and the state government, synergies that will be largely beneficial to the people of Ukwueze South local government area. Yes, it's a 3rd tier of government, but we are part of the 2nd tier of government in Enugu State. So we have to align our policies. We have to bring up policies, programs that complement what the state government is doing, programs that will amplify what the state government is doing for the ultimate benefit to the consumers who are my people in Ukwueze South local government area. We must look at those creative means of making sure that we leverage on what the state government has offered through her 2026 fiscal policy, so that we can now reflect it down to Ukwueze South local government area, where the people will gain from it. How will this thing work? I will tell you. In Enugu State government, His Excellency has generously made a policy of, if you have a project that is people-oriented and is beyond your budgetary capacity, you can partner with the state government, where you bring up 40% of what it takes to execute the project. State government will complement you with 60%. Have you seen how it will profit the people of Ukwueze South local government area? Yeah. So, as a government under Enugu State territory, it behoves on me, as the chairman of Ukwueze South local government area, to carefully study, like a diligent student, the budget of His Excellency Governor Peter Merisimba, and then come up with mine that aligns and complements and amplifies it to the benefit of the masses, I mean the grassroots, the ordinary person in Nkwo-Ibagwa, the ordinary person in Ukwueze Market, the ordinary person in Ovoko community where I come from, the ordinary person in Unadu that borders Kogi State. We must find a way to make sure that our own policy is attractive to state government programs. That's the only way we can maximize the benefits inherent in these state government budgets. That's the only way we can leverage on it. I'll give you an example again. When we talk about smart green schools, that is now found in every community in Ukwueze South local government area. It is my duty to complement the efforts of the state government with adequate securities for these expensive multi-billion facilities that have been brought down to my environment. When that is done, who benefits from it? My people, the child of nobody, who eventually becomes somebody tomorrow because of those facilities produced for them. When the state government is doing all these things, I now have to look at my various communities where they lack some basic amenities and then make sure sufficiently as much as we can within the limit of the resources we have, provide them in terms of pipe-borne water, in terms of access, good roads. Where we cannot pave, we grade. Where there is none, we create new ones to interconnect the communities, to become more attractive to visitors, tourists, and foreigners who come in to invest in our environment, who come in to trade with our farmers, who will now transit from subsistency to commercial farmers because of the farm estates coming alive. All right? So these are the things we have to do to make sure that we'll channel the full benefit of the state government policies down to the grassroots.
All right. On that note, we'll go on a short break, and when we return, we will delve into other issues.
Hooray! It's Christmas. The king is born. Hey children, it's time to laugh, to dance and have some fun. Put on your dancing shoes and bring your friends along. Come on, it's the Aneke TV Children's Christmas Party 2025. Let's go! We got dancing, spelling bees, sack race, jumping 1, 2, 3, lots of games and surprises too. All we are waiting for is you. And venue is Aneke TV, number 30, Edinburgh Street, Ogwini Layout, Enugu. Date, Sunday, 14 December 2025. Time is 12 o'clock. Come take your seat. Don't be late. We can't wait to celebrate. Sponsored by Indomie. Yummy treats. Colgate, our smile so sweet. Kellogg's, bring the crunchy cheers. Malta Guinness, energy all year. Powered by Nigerian Breweries. And this is the best party guaranteed. Come one, come all. It's Christmas cheers. Be there. Be happy. The fun, it's here.
For staying with us, and if you're just joining us on the Sunrise, we've been discussing with the executive chairman of Ukwueze South local government area, a man who left royalty to serve the people of his area. We're talking about Barrister Ferdinand Ukwueze. Barrister, we've been doing justice to the budget, and I know that you are an asset to the governor. I have encountered very few men who speak so eloquently about the ideas, the policies of Governor Barrister Peter Bisimba, like you do. However, let us veer off a bit from the budget. You've explained the budget quite well. Let me go back to the last time you were here. I would have loved to play that clip, but pardon me. Talking about politics now. You are one of the very few people that said when people never imagined that a day would come, Enugu State would move away from the PDP to APC. But you said at that time that wherever the governor goes, you go. And today, we are aware, we feel it and we know it. The governor is no longer in the PDP. You are in APC. Would you say that that decision was a very good one and is worth it? And how has life been being an APC member in Enugu State?
You see, the decision to move into APC was taken, and of course could only be taken by a leader who is visionary, a leader who is foresighted, by a leader, I mean a political leader, who thinks more for his people in terms of short-term, mid-term, and long-term benefits. All right.
Yeah.
It was not a convenient decision. It's not born out of convenience. It's born out of the desperate need to position your people for better gains in the politics of Nigeria. It is politics that brings in government. It is now the government that serves the people, delivering dividends to the people. So, if you look away from politics, then you have not planned to govern your people very well. And of course, there comes a time in the affairs of a people where the king of that environment will have to keep vigil at night and meditate so deeply, thinking about how best to navigate their people from obscurity to limelight, how best to place his territory in a better part of the map of a geography. That is precisely what His Excellency has done in Enugu State. Historically, breaking edges, not just for the fun of it, but because of its utility, because of what it promises, because of the gains inherent in such decision. I've told you before, quoting His Excellency, that a good leader is not just that leader who takes the people to where they want to be, but who leads the people to where they ought to be. Pay time. Moving into APC characterizes His Excellency as that philosopher king. That philosopher king is the king who is intentional about the future of his people. Are you not in Enugu State? Are you not in Nigeria today? Come to think of it, do we really have a political party properly called, firm and standard as PDP today? It exists in the past. It is not part of the experience today. He saw chaos coming. He saw tragedy coming. He saw anarchy setting into PDP. And like that leader, messianic leader, who led the people of Israel out of Egypt into the promised land, not minding the harshness of weather, the oddities of the environment, but he was so fascinated by the future it promises, he moved his people down to a better environment. That is precisely what His Excellency has done, taking Enugu State away from PDP into APC. What that has done, practically speaking, is that at the table of national decision, His Excellency Governor Peter Mbisimba, representing not just Enugu State as a people, but speaking from the womb of Southeast as a region, is found in that table, deciding the future of the people, bringing to the people what ought to be their benefits. You know, it is difficult for a river to drown a man whose feet is not found at the foot of the river. You also cannot shave someone in his absence. So, the Southeast as a place is now fully represented in the Nigerian equation. Come to think of it, within the space of 1 month of joining APC, His Excellency today is leading a special security committee set up by His Excellency, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. It would not have been possible because the President would not have come this close to His Excellency to know that he has the intellectual capacity to bring solution to the challenges of security that Nigeria of all tribes and tongues are facing.
Yeah.
He was given a marching order to produce the first report within the space of 30 days. And trust His Excellency, that report is coming on. It's a marriage that would be mutually beneficial to not just the federal government, but the states of Enugu as a people. So we are better for it. Joining APC means that His Excellency will not allow the fate of Enugu to be discussed in his absence, because he qualifies, he desires, and he deserves to be at that table where decisions are taken.
Well said. Oh, if I may, a lot of your, I wouldn't use the word detractors now, but your opponents, the people, some of the people you left behind in PDP and in other parties have said that that movement is a very costly one, that it may be difficult for your governor, for our governor, for all of you in APC in the state to win the next election come 2027.
Make no mistake about it, nobody was left in PDP. His Excellency moved, and he moved with the will of the people into APC. Today, like I said the other day I came, that the primus or the most important political party we have in Enugu State is Governor Peter Ndubuisi. Wherever he is, the people will naturally go there. He is like that honey that attracts ants.
Okay.
Because of his credible service delivery to the people of Enugu State. A political party is a vehicle to governance. Once it arrives to governance, the people benefit. So, whichever vehicle that takes the people to where they ought to benefit, the people will join. And who is the driver of that vehicle? His Excellency Governor Peter Ndubuisi. If anybody is complaining, mind you, even during the time of Jesus Christ on earth, there were still some native brothers who, not out of objectivity or sincerity, but out of envy and jealousy, still stood up to criticize him. Even when he healed their brothers, born blind and crippled, they still had one or two things to say, even though he did that. So, do not expect that naysayers will continue to clap hands for His Excellency. Those criticisms are born out of envy, they are born out of jealousy, they are not born out of objectivity, and they are not speaking the mind of the generality of the people. The verdict will be there to be passed by the people of Enugu State, not a few beer parlor gossipers.
Okay. That's very harsh though.
I'm sorry,
That's very harsh.
I withdraw the statement, but the verdict of whether the choice of His Excellency navigating us from obscurity to limelight will be passed eventually by the ultimate beneficiaries, which is the people of Enugu State.
All right.
Not the few dissenting voices.
Okay.
For want of time, I know there are a lot of things to discuss, and whenever I'm with you, I never want to let you go. I'm getting signals. But before I let you go, I have two issues I want to ask. I'm going back to Ukwueze South. I'm going back to Umulono. And I want to ask, how have you been able to do it in terms of security? How have you ensured the peace that we witness? There are no insecurity issues filtering from Ukwueze South. Ukwueze is peaceful. People in Umulono are peaceful. Everywhere seems to be more calm than when or before you came in. How have you been able to achieve that? Given the myriad of security challenges Nigeria is facing and the proximity from your area to Kogi State and Benue State, and yet people go to bed with their eyes closed.
The peace we enjoy today is a direct proceed of the joint combined efforts of so many factors. Capitally, state government, His Excellency Governor Peter Simba, who has so abundantly made available for us in Enugu State security facilities, access to security facilities, that whenever we call for reinforcement, they are there at our beck and call.
Okay.
But I also give the credit to the stakeholders in Ukwueze South local government area. My people in Ukwueze South local government area are a people who have designed for themselves a harmonious environment, and everybody is playing their contributory roles, making sure that we don't have security crisis in our environment. Not that there are no attempts, but it is one thing to attempt, it's another thing to go scot-free.
It's true.
One thing to attempt, another thing to succeed, or to go scot-free. So Ukwueze South local government area, by the special grace of God and dint of combined efforts of the state government and security stakeholders and our people, we are intentional about securing our environment. We are intentional about it. There is no politics about it. And criminals know that there is no room for violent crimes in our territory. We have consigned that to our history. We don't want to experience it any longer. And we are very intentional. We are vigilant with our security policies.
Okay.
All right. And finally, before I let you go, is ringing Christmas. What is the plan for our people in Omololo and the whole of the local government in general?
Thank you very much. It's ringing Christmas. This Christmas is coming to us, bringing a mixed feeling. A mixed feeling because we, in Ukwueze South, lost one of our illustrious sons. I mean, the senator representing Enugu North Senatorial District. For the past few weeks now, Enugu State has been mourning. His Excellency Governor Peter Simba has expressed his condolence to the family of Senator Ukwueze and then the people of Enugu North Senatorial District, and in particular the people of Ukwueze South local government area. So you can see why our emotion comes with mixture of that kind. But that notwithstanding, Christmas season will still be celebrated in such a way that relatives will meet themselves again, and then friends from diaspora who will be visiting home will meet their native brothers and former allies, their schoolmates and the rest of them. So on the part of us as a government, we will continue to create and insist on sustaining conducive environments where people can come and enjoy our nativities, enjoy our environment, enjoy our culture as we reflect on the birth of our Lord Jesus Christ, who is primarily the reason for the season called Christmas.
Okay.
All right. Yes, now that we're talking about it, our condolences to you and to the people of Ukwueze South on the death of our dear senator, and if you've been with us, you will know that we've been speaking to the erudite chairman himself. We've been talking to the executive chairman of Ukwueze South local government area in Enugu State, Barrister Ferdinand. He is an award-winning chairman, the best performing chairman for the year 2025 by Roots Watch magazine, and he's the deputy chairman of Argon.
I'm going to invite you for our program coming up on the 18th of December. That's this month. We are unleashing our youths, the youths of Enugu North Senatorial District, to training on artificial intelligence in joint effort with UNESCO and University of Nigeria. We'll still come for official advert from you, but just understand that you're part of that program. It's a way of saying to our young ones, good morning to a generation that is AI focused.
Okay, sir.
Thank you.
All right. speaking about the chairman, and you've heard from him, he is known as the man with the progress agenda. So he's not far-fetched. And Ayu is equally the deputy chairman of the Association of Local Government Chairmen in Enugu State Chapter. I've gone and I've mentioned it. He keep getting honored and recognition. He's been honored by the Methodist Church of Nigeria, Enugu Diocese, with an award of recognition for his services in May 2025. And the executive chairman, Barrister Ferdinand, it's always a pleasure to have you in our studio and on Sunrise. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir.
In an in-depth analysis. I know that the governor, when he listens to this, he will be very proud. You're one of the people who carry his matters on your shoulders. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your services to our people.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And to you, our wonderful viewers, thank you for staying with us on the Sunrise. We did promise you that today's edition is a very special one, and we will equally, some other time, like he has said, invite him to join us on the Sunrise. I'm still your host, Uche Osai.
Yeah, thank you very much for staying with us today, and I'm Deborah Wakuba.